Hey, it's Thursday already, April 18th. We're back in the studio, so we're not going to have a camera fall over like it did yesterday. If you missed it, go check it out. Today, we're talking about more EV layoffs, new EV model years, and mandatory AI training. I like the sound of that. Mandatory AI training.
There's like this weird thing that I feel like is happening in the AI world where it's like there's still a good amount of companies talking about it. Then there's like a whole other subset that is like, that was so last year, which is very metaversey, but it's not as metaversey, you know?
That's a great point, like metaversey, because the people who aren't deploying and using it feel like it's just kind of faded off. But I think what's happened is the hype around it has subsided and the actual use of it has exponentially increased as opposed to the metaverse, even cryptocurrency, right? Like more people, like there's people buying it and trading it, but there are few functional uses of blockchain, you know, in the public eye. So yeah, that's a really great, you know,
But the functional use of AI is still extremely broad, even though the hype is a little bit less in the news.
So. Yeah. Last night, you and I were both coming back from Atlanta, you know, separately, but flying home from the Atlanta airport. You sent me a text. I never responded to it, but it was, you asked ChatGPT, who's Kyle Mountsier, and it gave you a full in-depth description. And it reminded me, I never told you that last week I was on LinkedIn, and you know how you can click like the little questions underneath?
Yeah.
LinkedIn, I never knew what they did. And Nathan was in my office. And I was like, I don't know what that does. Does it respond to that? But actually, that's an AI generated answer to those questions under the post. Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah. I had tried it out. It's pretty wild.
One of those was, who is Paul J. Daly? And I was like, what, does it respond that in the comments? And I clicked it and it gave me this whole summary of myself, very similar to that. And what I realized,
because they're Microsoft companies. So basically what happened, and this is wild, is basically it froze there for a second, was like, let me think. And then it brought in the Bing integration.
Yep.
And then cited like 7 or 8 different Bing articles or like links or things like that. So it was able to like traverse all of these Bing articles and like bring together this like full profile.
Interesting. My thought on it was like, well, Microsoft and AI obviously working, I mean, and OpenAI working very closely together.
Right.
And Microsoft obviously getting all the LinkedIn data, which is where you would obviously find the most about you,
both of us, right?
Yeah. And so now it's all part of the system. I don't know. Interesting AI conversation, but
we definitely can't hide now is basically the reality.
Definitely. No. Well, also, like I think Ben Hadley posted, you know, that Google got caught. I mean, not Google, OpenAI got caught scraping, you know, like
YouTube,
thousands of YouTube videos,
right?
Content, which
but then there's not a lawsuit because Google may or may not be doing that.
And it's also violating its own terms of service on like what you can and can't do. So like, I think from an ethical standpoint, that's an unethical way to train AI, but can it be stopped? Do enough people care? Is it too late? And the question is probably yes. So
we got sideways this morning.
Dig your bunker, everybody. Get to the last ASOTU CON before Skynet shuts us down. We're gonna have ASOTU CON in just 3.5 weeks. I think it's 28 days. I think we're 27, 26. I don't know. It's hard to keep count. Oh my goodness. But the velocity has picked up full on. New tickets coming in every day. We're gonna have I don't know like the way to categorize it, but a lot of dealers at this event. Maryland Auto Dealer Association is going to be there in force. Their annual meeting is going to be held in conjunction with day 2. Friends at WOCAN are coming in on day 1. We have a list of almost 90 speakers who are going to be there. Go to ASOTUCON.com, check out the speakers, get your ticket. There's still time for you to get the ticket, make travel plans, right? It's auto industry, right? So we're within 30 days. So it now exists, and you can now come and join us and enjoy some of the panelists and the friends and the relationships, best practices, go home, make your dealership that much better. Let's talk about some news.
Let's do it.
All right. It seems Tesla isn't the only non-dealership model EV maker laying off staff, as Rivian is now making a second round of job cuts, layoffs this year, impacting about 150 support and back office roles. They're saying it aligns more with market demand. So this decision which equates to about another 1% of their workforce. This follows a 10% reduction of salaried staff earlier in the year, targeting product and commercial EV teams. They're trying to get to gross margin positivity by year end, despite the fall off in EV demand. In an emailed statement, Rivian said, "We continue to work to right-size the business to ensure alignment to our priorities. This was a difficult decision, but a necessary one to support our goal to be gross margin positive by the end of the year." If you remember last week, Tesla announced a 10% workforce layoff. Elon Musk responded to that, by the way, on Twitter. And he said, laying off 10% of their staff is basically an action that needs to be taken every 5 years. And if you look historically, this holds true. He says,
wow,
this holds true. Like when you read the book and you understand how he thinks, laying off 10% of the staff as a realignment mechanism to focus on the future growth initiatives of the company.
That's wild. That's a totally different way than Rivian is looking at it, to be very clear.
Absolutely.
But wild so this is the interesting thing for me, right? A couple years ago, even last year, all of these EV companies were not getting measured. They were getting measured on hype. It was definitely a voting machine. It was not a weighing machine on margin. And they are quickly being transitioned to like, nope, time to get profitable, time to be a real company.
Yep.
It was probably that I'm sure some of these early stage EV companies are kind of feeling the whiplash of like, wait a second, weren't you evaluating us like a more like a startup?
Yes,
and
we
now we got to be grown up this year,
Yeah.
It's wild.
No, it's a great point. It's a great point. So, I mean, it's easy to look at Tesla as kind of the whipping boy, but when you kind of look at some of the stuff, you realize that it's not just Tesla. But I think this is a bright spot right here. Speaking of bright spots in the EV world.
Stop.
Hey.
Segue.
Time. There you go. Yes. And as the model year cycle rounds another tick, getting into the 2024s, Ford is opening online orders for the 2024 model of the F150 Lightning. It's featuring new tech enhancements, some reduced pricing. So they had a little bit of a stop ship for quality checks, but now like the shipments and the orders are back open. And it's cool to see like the second model year iteration of this roll around. The electric pickup now is still starting at $54,000, which was the starting price of the Pro model last year. They did add a new trim this year, which is called, what is it called?
Flash.
The Flash. That's cool. Lightning Flash. By the way, I was on the plane last night and a lightning flash was like right next to the plane. It was scary. But either way,
that's nuts.
No, yeah. With the new Flash trim is now starting at $67,995. Of course, it's a very car price. And it does feature the highest range available in the F-150 Lightning, which is 320 miles. So like 67,000. Last year, a similar trim was like 75,000. So prices are definitely backing out. Yep. Some of the enhanced features this year are going to be a new charging display that has a very useful piece of information, like how many minutes estimated until your car is
charging. The fact that it's taken that long to get that
seems like of course,
like first step.
Most important thing I want to know: how much longer do I have to sit here? Also, there's a new vapor heat pump system. They're saying is going to increase efficiency, especially in cold weather climates, as well as we know access to the Tesla.
Everybody's going NACS. Yep.
So I like it. I feel like this is a win for
this is a win. And going back to my previous point of like EV companies having to get to profitability and get to scale quicker. It's like, hey, I don't know if it's like if it's possible here to be profitable at these numbers, but I can guarantee it's going to provide impetus to getting to scale quicker, right? As they open up online orders again, as they start shipping these things. They hadn't shipped any Lightnings for a couple months now because of some issues on delivery stuff, and so they're shipping those again this week. The Lightning has already been pretty broadly adopted because it has the towing capacity you need. It has some of the range things you need. So this is just another kind of tick in like, hey, look, and we can be at a price point that is more affordable for a broader range of buyers. Ford has always kind of been, and due to Jim Farley kind of being out front, has been out front in the conversation, but it seems like they're making moves to stay in front on the margin and the growth side of things as well.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of the growth side of things,
segue.
Yep. Growing your people, growing their skill sets,
always growing people,
growing their awareness.
It makes so much sense. It's so good. IKEA is potentially setting a brand new benchmark in employee development with a comprehensive AI literacy initiative aimed at equipping its workforce with essential skills to navigate the evolving AI landscape. So this AI literacy training is targeting 3,000 coworkers and 500 leaders across the organization, just really to get a deep understanding of AI within the organization. So it's not particularly like a training on how to use, it's a better understanding of the actual function, the form of AI. Includes courses like AI fundamentals on specialized programs like generative AI, responsible AI, algorithmic training for ethics. And they are introducing a thing called Hey Copilot, and an AI tool developed with Microsoft, which enhances the productivity by assisting employees with various tasks. Their chief digital officer, Parag Parekh, said, "Our vision is clear. It's about enhancing the capabilities of coworkers through our technology." So training, efficiency,
Look,
AI.
IKEA was a, oh, where's the book? Where's the book? Here it is. Hold on.
I know. Innovation Stack.
Yeah, so IKEA was one of the stories the company's featured in the Innovation Stack by Jim McKelvey. We had him at our first ASOTU CON, and a book that has influenced our thinking quite a bit. Talked about the way the company had this mentality of like, so we had to, meaning like the environment is this, the conditions are this, so we had to do this to build their tech stack internally. I think this is very on brand and just aligned with how IKEA thinks about innovation. And they see this AI opportunity as like, let's not ignore it. Actually, let's teach our people how to lean into it and leverage it, knowing that that's going to lead to faster innovation, much more operational efficiency. And so, yeah, I think I want to see more of this in the auto space, because
I agree.
I mean, it's like every week, we're in a dealership or we're talking to somebody in automotive, and they tell us about something they're doing, like a task or a duty or whatever it is, and we're like, there's a really much easier way to do this.
There is. And I also hear this. It's like, hey, we got this new program with AI. And like the reality is that the frontline employee, maybe that hasn't been paying attention to the market, that's only been kind of seeing the stuff on ChatGPT out there, may not understand how that's actually impacting their job, the functionality, and how that AI is trained. And so just some simple education about like, what is AI? What is it actually doing? How is it actually trained? What are we getting out of it? Right. Which will then allow you to be more efficient in your use of it in day to day. So I think like people should be creating EV training and AI training right now in their dealerships at a basic level, not even just like the product specific things that they're doing.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. We hope you have a great Thursday, thinking about how you can be better, investing in your people, paying attention to what's going on in the industry. Most importantly, pay attention to the consumer, because they're always going to tell you what they want one way or another. We'll see you tomorrow.